Dog chick. Yeah, Browns play tonight, baby. What's up? This is the Full Coverage Football Show. We are live here on our Facebook page, fb.me/FCFSpod. Bro, we got Thursday night football tonight. We got game picks tonight. We got Hall of Fame ballots we'll cast tonight. And for those of you watching right now, this screen behind me, it's a green screen. I did have Cleveland Browns Stadium, First Energy Stadium behind me, but I looked like I was dubbed into a Godzilla movie. My lips were not syncing with my words, and I got away from it. So that's why it looks like I might be doing this show live from Mansfield State Prison or something. But anyway, we got Thursday night football. It's my team, the Browns. So, yeah, I might be a little moody during the show because the Browns suck usually. They sucked last week. So let's just get into the show. As you know, that is my co-host. That is Mr. Drew Ward.
Good evening.
It is going to be a fun night. Let's get our show going here. Welcome, Drew. At Detroit Dave 7 on Twitter. You can follow me at Somerville CLE. Brother, we're going to be starting here at 8 o'clock from now on. Early time. Therefore, we get to preview the Thursday night game. Bigger game tonight. Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield? Who do you think has a bigger game?
Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Yep, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. I tend to think that Cleveland's going to try to run the ball and try to run it very, very frequently. And I think that's what they should do. That's the recipe for them to win. And I think they'll try to work off play action. But I fully expect them to just kind of ground and pound the thing. And I think that Joe Burrow may get more attempts. But we'll see. I just think Cleveland, in my opinion, is going to try to pound the ball. But let's not act like Cleveland's defensive backfield is this great, healthy, wonderful backfield right now. So Joe Burrow's he's going to have his opportunities. Mediocre, young, terrible linebackers. So Joe Burrow's going to have opportunities. I think Cleveland runs a lot, so I think Joe Burrow has a better night.
I'm with you on that, but I think Baker Mayfield might bounce back. I think what Kevin Stefanski is going to do is make very easy throws. Going to go away from a little bit of the timing throws, but focus more on just getting him quick reads where the ball's out of his hand instantly, because this is what they need to do to get his confidence back. For those of you who watched last week, the Browns got their asses kicked. They got stomped. They played a very good team, though. Browns may not be as bad as they looked, but we can say the Ravens are as good as they look. That's a very good football team. For the Browns to do anything tonight and to do anything this season, we said it in all of our previews. We've said it all off season. It is all on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield. But for tonight, it can't be on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield. Drew hit it right on the head when he said they need to run the football. Run the football against this Cincinnati defense, missing Geno Atkins up the gut. This is a defense that is not very good. But the Browns defense, like you said, is just awful. The linebacker play was terrible last week. The defensive backfield was Swiss cheese. So if the Browns want to do anything, run the football and get Myles Garrett matched up on Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart's the worst starting offensive lineman in the league. We've been saying it for the past 16 months. 6 pressures. I can't.
Why? Leave that man alone. He has a family.
I understand he has a family.
Point that guy out. Okay. You constantly point him out. I mean, Jesus.
6 pressures last week. Gave up 1 sack with a rookie quarterback back there.
He wants to be better. He's just not.
I know he does want to be better. I don't think he doesn't want to be better. He's just not that good. And the Browns are starting Chris Hubbard at right tackle tonight, and he's not that much better. Like we said in our preview also, Chris Hubbard, great dude, not that great of a tackle in the NFL. I mean, we're not trying to go after dudes, but we're just telling you like it is. There's guys who are good in the NFL, and there's guys who are bad. Baker Mayfield right now sucks balls. Maybe not in his personal life, but on the field, he absolutely does. And I will stand up. I'm a Baker Mayfield stan, for those of you hip enough to understand the stan reference there. Don't know if we got any of those watching Facebook Live right now with us, but Baker Mayfield sucked. And that's all there is to it.
Yep. I mean, I agree.
We try not to be homers. We call out the players that need to be called out.
My team needs called out like crazy. I look forward to doing it later.
We will talk about your team later, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about it, not to relive it, though. I mean, that was a rough game for you guys.
I'm over it, man. I can't go on shit like that. That's not good for your health. There's people
on
that
to
I
Green
see on
Bay.
Twitter, they're like, I'm not going to sleep for. And I'm like, damn, man, you gotta check your priorities, brother. You gotta get some sleep.
I mean, the Browns used to do that to me. They used to get my blood pressure up. They used to make me insane, and I had to get away from that because I would just lose my mind.
Yeah, it's not
And
fun.
it's not healthy.
It's not
And
fun. Especially
we do
when
have
they
a
do
good
it
show
all.
for you coming up tonight. We will pick this game here in a second, but we got a lot of stuff coming up. Like I said, we got our Hall of Fame ballots. We're going to play a fun game called That's What He Said, where Drew will tell me whether that's what the guy actually said as we spin the wheel and his name comes up, or if it's quote I made up. Should be easy, might be hard. We'll see. See how it goes. We also have at Detroit BC Chris Robin coming up, talk fantasy football. And for those of you who watched him on our fantasy football preview show, he told you to pick up Naheem Hines. How did Naheem Hines do last week, Drew?
He was fantastic.
He was fantastic.
And Chris is fantastic. I'm pumped to have him on. Yeah, it's just good to be back in the swing of things, man. You know, things are happening. Football, fantasy football. You know, it's just it seems like it's been too long. Big Ten's back. I'm pumped. Lots of nice things are happening, and I'm looking forward to it.
Big Ten is back, and that's something we have to look forward to. Starting October 24th, I believe December 19th will be the Big Ten championship game. They're looking at an 8-game schedule. So we will see Justin Fields. Shaun Wade is coming back. I mean, the Buckeyes are getting their stuff together. You see all these players. It's a funny thing to me. You see all these players for the Buckeyes really wanting to play football. But the rest of the Big Ten, I haven't seen a lot of other players really fighting to want to play. I feel like the Buckeyes are the only squad who are really like, yo, let us out there. Let us get back out there.
Dylan McCaffrey said he's not playing. He's opted out of the season. Yep.
I mean, that's a big loss for that team. So good for the Buckeyes. And like I said, we will have at Detroit BC Chris Robin coming up. He's running a little behind, so we'll be on about 15 minutes from now. So let's make our picks for this Thursday night football game. Cincinnati Bengals 0-1, or as I put, Cincinnati Bengal because it's a one-man show. At Cleveland Browns 0-1. Who do you have in this game, Drew?
I think the Browns are going to win. I think it's going to be a good game, actually. I mean, it might not be aesthetically pleasing to the normal fan that likes to watch Kansas City and things like that. Mm-hmm. Again, I think both these teams kind of want – I don't want to say take the ball out of the quarterback's hands, but I think with a young player like Joe Burrow, yes, you want to let him sit back there and throw it, but you got to get a run game established. I think both sides are going to want to do that. What becomes interesting is if it becomes a 2-score game, because then it really, and we saw it kind of last week with Cleveland, they kind of abandoned everything that we're doing with the run game. So again, I think both the teams try to run the ball. I think Cleveland comes out on top. I could see if I was making a pick of score anywhere, I'd say 21-17 would be my pick with taking Cleveland.
I like that. I mean, Joe Burrow.
Cleveland can't kick field goals because their kicker shit. Well, they're going to try something different, but
Cody Parkey, baby.
Yeah. So here we are. So, but yeah, I would say 21-17. I expect a decent game, though. I mean, I hope.
I mean, the thing for the Browns is Joe Mixon always destroys them, and
Joe Mixon's really damn good.
He's a really good football player. And I absolutely expect Joe Mixon to have a good night. Joe Burrow, the battle of the Joes in the backfield there for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, if he can get in tempo, get in rhythm, like he was in that last drive of last week, where he was basically 2-minute drill, let me call the plays. He had excellent ball placement. The kid looked to just run it like he'd been in the league for 14 years. If he gets in rhythm, he's going to have easy throws against this Browns defense because, like we said, the secondary's trash. The linebacker play was terrible. Myles Garrett needs to get something. Olivier Vernon's out, which is no surprise. I mean, he seems to miss every game.
Yep.
Or maybe not every game, but most of them. But the Browns need to stop Joe Mixon. They need to put the pressure on Joe Burrow to do things. The Browns now, of all things, are 4-0 in their last 4 Thursday night football games, which I know is a ridiculous stat. But for the Browns to have a winning streak of 4 anything, we got to talk it up a little bit. And yeah, you mentioned the kicking game last week. Awful kicking from Austin Siebert. They dropped him, and he may end up kicking tonight. I don't know. I didn't check right before the game to see if Randy Bullock's going to play. But if he doesn't, Austin Seibert's going to kick for the Bengals, which
that man faked that injury. That man faked that injury because he missed that field goal.
100% exactly what I said, and we didn't talk about this. But that was he's like, I chunked this shit. My leg. Like that was absolutely that. Yeah, Randy Bullock 1-1 last week on PATs, 2 of 3 on the field goals, but missed the game-tying field goal after that drive that I mentioned earlier, where Joe Burrow just destroyed the Chargers defense. And that Chargers defense is way better than this Browns defense right now because there are people all over. Yes, they're without Derwin James, but their corners are better. They have multiple pass rushers, one on each side. They've got good pressure up the middle. You've got young linebackers who are better. That Chargers defense is better. And Joe Burrow, yeah, he threw an interception. It was stupid. Threw the ball late. But he played really well. So Joe Burrow is definitely a guy who can pick apart the Browns defense. But for the Browns to win, you got to get Baker in rhythm. Get him out of his own head. Get him back to the guy, quick start, quick throw. That's why he was so good his rookie year. And the last time we saw Baker Mayfield on Thursday Night Football, the first time I should say we saw him on Thursday Night Football was when he stopped the Browns' losing streak and lit up the city and made everyone go crazy. That's the guy the Browns need to see, but that's a long, long time ago. So for me, I am going to take the Browns to win 24-16. I think this is almost a must-win for the Browns because you can't go 0-2 and then fall into the basement. And yes, it's early, but the Browns need to get something going positive for them. Bengals can go 0-2. They're building their rookie. Zach Taylor looked like an actual head coach last week. Let's see if Kevin Stefanski can do the same this week. So we're both taking the Browns. Oh, man. You know I hate taking the Browns because they always destroy us. But I got to.
I mean, listen, I don't know if it's a must-win, but damn, this one would sting. This one would really hurt because let's be honest, like you said, this is a game the Browns should win. The Browns kind of like to feast on mediocre teams, like outside of beating the Baltimore Ravens last year. And these are games you have to win in the NFL. Yeah. If you want to be a decent team, you have to beat the mediocre to below average teams. And there's going to be like 6,000 crazy fans at the game, I heard. So, no, I mean, listen, it's not a must-win, but damn, this one would sting to not win.
Absolutely. And, yeah, their defense is torn up with injuries. They are without Jack Conklin, but you got to battle through in the NFL because that's how you win football games. So before the game starts, we're going to move on to a segment that we're going to do later, but since Chris is running a little behind, we will move on to a different segment. Let's start our Hall of Fame ballots. NFL came out with their Hall of Fame class nominees. A lot of really good first-time nominees. Peyton Manning's on there. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll be on both of ours. He was a pretty good football player. A lot of really good guys who should get in. There's a lot of guys who didn't get in last year. Alan Faneca, Tony Baselli, Clay Matthews is a guy who's been out there forever, who has excellent numbers. Patrick Willis didn't get in last year. I mean, Patrick Willis, to me, is one of the best linebackers of that generation before Luke Kuechly took over. A lot of really good Hall of Fame choices this week. And they're doing it right here because it's the 100th anniversary of football. And why not do it here in the home of pro football, which is Canton, Ohio? And that's why we got Browns-Bengals tonight in the Boo, the Battle of Ohio. And yes, I'm with you, Clay Matthews. Yeah, should be in the Hall of Fame. But we got 5 choices tonight. Each one of us gets 5 choices of guys who should be in the Hall of Fame. And I will tell you right now, Clay Matthews did not make the cut. So I will go with my list. I'll go first.
Can I have Peyton Manning? Can I draft him first? Or wait, we both get to get him. No, I'm just kidding.
Peyton Manning, first ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt about it. If it wasn't for Tom Brady, Peyton Manning might be the greatest quarterback of all time. Number 2, Torrey Holt, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams, St. Louis Rams. Torrey Holt deserves to be in. I believe he was a first time on the ballot 2 years ago now. Torrey Holt was the top wide receiver for a very long time for that team. And yes, Isaac Bruce is really good, but Torrey Holt, I believe, was better.
Consistency.
Absolutely.
I mean, just literally consistent. Absolutely.
Third, a guy from that state up north, that team up north, Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson, one of the best corners ever, one of the best secondary players ever, played free safety at the end of his career. The guy was a do-it-all, excellent early pick. I mean, he's a clear Hall of Famer in my opinion. Number 4, I've got Tony Baselli, former Jacksonville Jaguars offensive lineman. I think Baselli was one of the greatest offensive linemen in the league and absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And at number 5, I could put Clay Matthews there, but I feel like there's just a guy, maybe he played in Detroit, was really good, big guy, Megatron, baby, Calvin Johnson. No doubt.
I love how you waited to put him last.
I was waiting. I had to build it up for you, man. You're like, this bastard, this fat bastard.
He's not going to put him on there.
Megatron, no. Megatron, yeah, he retired early. And it sucked. And that happens to your team. I mean, it happened with multiple great players. They retired in their prime. Megatron was a stud, dude. Absolute stud. You know better than I do how good he was. He's an absolute Hall of Famer. Let me hear your list, bro.
I mean, the other thing that kind of was a little weird, and I don't want to say you crazy, but you mentioned Patrick. We didn't even pick him. How do you not pick Patrick Willis? How?
Because when it came down to 5 guys, I think Tony Baselli deserved to be in before him.
I think I think our list is somewhat similar because I think in my opinion, there's 3 shoo-ins. I would put Patrick Willis. I would also put Torrey Holt. And then I think the 3 shoo-ins is 100% Calvin Johnson, in my opinion. I mean, Peyton Manning is a given. And Charles Woodson. I mean, those 3, I think the 3 out of this class, have the opportunity to definitely be first ballot guys.
They absolutely should be. And yeah, there's going to be people who say, yeah, Terrell Owens has better numbers and should be in the Hall of Fame, and Calvin Johnson going to get in there first. Calvin Johnson, listen, if Calvin Johnson continued to play and didn't retire in his prime, I think his numbers would have surpassed Terrell Owens. And you can't always go based strictly on numbers. And yeah, I know I've argued for Phillip Rivers strictly almost on numbers. So I guess I'm a little bit of a hypocrite in that way.
You can argue numbers when it's your argument.
You can. But for me, I mean, Megatron's got to be in there. I'm with you. The 3 first ballot guys, Megatron, Charles Woodson, Peyton. And that's really a toss-up. I mean, Alan Faneca deserves it. I mean, there's John Lynch who deserves to be in there still. There's a lot of really good deserving guys. And like I mentioned, Clay Matthews has been up forever. And if you compare his numbers to Junior Seau, you compare his numbers to almost anyone, they stack up favorably. That's how good Clay Matthews was. And he had an extended career, lasted almost 20 years at linebacker, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
I think he falls short this year. I think he eventually does get in, and I think it'll be, the committee gets him in later. But I think the 5 guys we both had are very solid. And it's hard to go against any of those guys.
Like I said, 3 are a shoo-in, and then the other 2 are kind of like pick your cup of tea. I mean, because it's hard, because there's so many worthy guys that we're talking about in this conversation. So, but yeah, Calvin Johnson's good.
Yeah.
I miss him.
I mean, guy who's 6'5", 240 pounds, ran what, a 4.2, 940 or something like that.
Well, and just came out of like a school that's known for running like a triple option. And he was just.
That's one of the. How did he end up at Georgia Tech? Like, I've never looked into it. One thing I'm going to have to look into is how does that guy get to Georgia Tech and everyone else is like, hey, we're going to pass on this 6'5" monster. Probably teams wanted to play defensive end. College coaches are like, no, you got the size and speed for this. Let's put you here. And they went away from it. And I mean, this guy, just unbelievable. Definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. What is your favorite, since we're talking, this is your team. Obviously, you're a Lions fan. Anyone who's watched the show clearly knows that. What is your favorite memory as watching Calvin Johnson?
So my cousin Matt and I, we go up to a my wife, his wife, get us tickets, drop us off. It's a night game. It's actually a Saturday night football game. I think this is 2014, 2015. They drop us off downtown. They take us, drop us off. They're going to pick us up. Game starts at 2, or game starts at 8:30. I think we get to the bars at 2. We enjoy our days.
Pre-game, baby.
And we go. Yep, and we go to the Lions game, and it was the game Saturday Night Football against Atlanta that Calvin broke the single season record. And I was there live, and the place was awesome. It was a cool experience. That has to be my favorite Calvin moment. But I mean, that was just because I was there live. I mean, that season that he had was absolutely incredible. Dude's a stud, and it's shitty the terms that he's on with the Lions at this point. The Lions basically made him pay back money, millions of dollars of his contract. It's bad blood between the organization and Calvin Johnson right now. It's just a shame.
It is, especially when a player's that good. But I think eventually the Lions come to their senses and allow Megatron to be part of that franchise because they need him there. They need those kind of guys around that franchise. Something the Browns didn't do when they first came back. They didn't accept the old guard in, and then other coaches finally started bringing them in. You need those guys, the guys who know the history, who were the really good players for the team when they had some solid years. Because our teams just have so many bad years. You need to find someone who does that. And the Browns game here is about to kick off. And we've got our picks in. We're both taking the Browns tonight. And the Browns are rocking their brown tops and orange pants, which, as we're talking Clay Matthews, that's the best combo they've got, other than the color rush. But man, I am worried about this game.
Combo shit, no matter what combo, it's a terrible, it's terrible color.
You hate orange and brown.
I know. I mean, it's not like. If you say this is their best combination, I'll believe you. But man, AJ Green,
regular jerseys, absolutely.
AJ Green banged up on the first play of the game. Everybody hates to see it.
You don't? Aren't you playing against him in fantasy? Or are you not playing against him?
Yeah, I am. All right.
And speaking of fantasy football, like I said, we do have Chris at Detroit Beastie on Twitter. We do have him coming up a little later. And if Joe Burrow throws that ball in bounds, by the way, a little further down the field, he's gone because he had a step and a half on Terrence Mitchell. Not good. This is going to get ugly tonight, folks. Yeah, normally we have a really nice show, and we've been really well at putting everything together, keeping nice compact. We got the Browns on, and as y'all know from watching the show, I love the Browns, and you're going to see me lose my mind. As I tweeted this morning, I'm going to be a pouty douche at some point during the show probably, and you guys are going to love to see it. But since we're still waiting on Chris here, let's move on. Yeah, you got to love to see it. To see other people get tortured by their awful teams. It happens.
It just makes me feel better.
Let's see what else we can do. Let's get some bills paid here. Check out our new merchandise at bonfire.com/store/FCFS-Tees. A lot of really good shirts up there. We got a Drew and the Fat Guy t-shirt, which is our #1 seller. We got a brand new Ward's Wagers t-shirt up there. I'm going to put some hoodies up very shortly. We got our Aaron Rodgers cock bag t-shirt. All kinds of really quality shirts. Do us a favor, check them out, purchase it. We got the prices as low as they can go, so we're not making any money off these. We're just trying to get our brand out there, our name out there. If you enjoy the show, help us out. Make yourself look really nice. I'm rocking one tonight, the full coverage football show for the fans of the Ohio State University. And, of course, we do have to talk about our sponsors, which is always a fun part of the show because we always get to mention who really cares about the show other than the people who watch it, who we absolutely love. Check us out every Thursday night, now at 8 o'clock, fb.me/FCFSpod. And be sure, if you check us out, check out our sponsors. Manhattan Deli Menor, 440-974-0055. Concealed Carry Firearms Training, 440-391-4118. And Kitty Cove Daycare at Kitty Cove OH on Facebook. Those are some FCFSFOTS's full coverage football show friends of the show. People you want to check out, and we are going to move on now, and we are going to play a quick game here. This game, it's a fun game. It's called...
Here we go, boys and girls.
That's but he said,
and I'm going to be terrible.
It's going to be a lot of fun because Drew is going to tell us whether that's what he said, whoever that guy the wheel picks is, or if it's, quote, I made up. So give us a second here as we're kind of pulling an audible and switching around the show. We are going to
What's the over-under on how many of these I get?
I think you'll get, I think I have 5 of them. I think you're at least 3 out of 5. So,
all right,
because our budget is baller style tonight, we are rocking our awesome spin wheel here. So it looks like we got Chris joining us here. You want to push the game back and bring Chris on?
Yeah, let's bring Chris on, man.
All right. So we will remove our awesome wheel, which our expanded budget allowed us to create. And we are going to bring Chris on at Detroit Beastie on Twitter. Last time he was on, he told us, yo, check out Nyheim Hines late in the fantasy draft. And look what Nyheim Hines did last week. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight?
I did that. Thank you for remembering. I'm fantastic.
Chris, man, thanks for joining us. How's things in your world, brother?
Phenomenal. I couldn't ask for a better day, a better evening. And I mean, I know most of us, we care about a certain group of things, right? Some people care more for their brothers or sisters or their dogs or their cats, right? I care about my fantasy teams, and I care about, people that read my content, and it's I've leveled up, I feel like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we love you. We love your content, and we're happy to let everybody know that Chris is going to be joining us every Thursday for a segment to kind of just break down some fantasy football, man. So let's get into it. First of all, as far as your fantasy teams this past week, how did everything fare on your end?
Fantastic. I'm 1-0 in about of the 7 leagues I play in. I'm 1-0 in 7 of them. I only lost 1, and that was I'm in the Ryder Bowl, and which is the UK versus us here in the States. And there was another charity one. I think it was it's like an IDP for autism. I lost that one, but I don't know if you've seen, but I'm in the Pros versus Joes league, right? They consider me a pro. Consider me a pro. They labeled me a pro. And my Joe, his name is OJ. He donated, and he's my co-manager. We absolutely beat the pants off who we were playing, and we're 1-0, and we've scored the most points in that week. So overall points leader so far.
That's fantastic, man. Well, let's get right into it again. Appreciate you coming on.
No doubt.
Just to touch on a couple people from week 1 that maybe our listeners may have some concerns about. First of all, Rob Gronkowski, 2 catches, 11 yards, week 1. Is there any concern there? Is that just kind of knocking the rust off and trying to build some rapport down in Tampa?
Yeah, I wouldn't panic, but when the news came out over the summer about him coming back, I mean, people freaked out. Like, we need to draft him as a top, 10, top 5 tight end. And safely, I can say, ego all aside, I wasn't buying into it. I don't own Gronk in any leagues now. To be honest, I don't think I've ever owned him. And the guy's an absolute stud. He's a powerhouse. But I just didn't see what's the term I'm looking for? The production that we all grew accustomed to over the years in New England. And he comes to Tampa Bay. Like you said, he had 2 receptions last week, 11 yards. I mean, I think that's a little weak. He can get, 3 or 4 yards, but maybe he's more of like a Jack Doyle was last year. You know what I mean? He was steady Eddie, right? 4 or 5 catches, you could pencil him in for 40, 50 yards and a touchdown here and there. And from a tight end, that's like 10 points a week, 11 points if he scores. So nothing wrong there. It all depends on where you drafted him and what kind of value you place on him. So I'm good with Gronk.
Love it. So going to Jack Doyle, let's talk about Indianapolis for a second. We know the Marlon Mack injury came up this week. We talk about Hines. We talked about Jonathan Taylor. Out of the 2 backs, who do you feel kind of takes over the load there? And who out of the 2 would you feel more comfortable starting? Although I'm guessing you're starting both to some extent.
Yes. It's a great question. So, I mean, I'd be a fool to say anybody other than Jonathan Taylor is going to carry the load there, right? This week, this week it's Thursday evening, so the week is almost done. I know you're on Twitter and social media heavy. It's been nothing but Jonathan Taylor this, Jonathan Taylor
Yep.
that. This week, I mean, I've seen polls where people I'd rather start Jonathan Taylor over Joe Mixon or Nick Chubb tonight, which isn't crazy, but I think we need to hold our horses with Jonathan Taylor. I've always been, if you didn't notice, in terms of fantasy stuff, I'm like a wait and see guy, right? I mean, if I own Jonathan Taylor, I'm playing him on Sunday, but he's not making the leap over the studs that I drafted in the first 2 rounds, if that makes any sense. So to answer your question, Jonathan Taylor is going to get majority of the work in Indianapolis, but Nyheim Hines is there, and he took a ton, if not all, of the passing down work. I'm looking at, he caught 8 passes, 45 yards and a touchdown. That's fantastic. So I've been mulling it over all week. Actually, I could see a scenario where Jonathan Taylor gets all the rushing attempts, and Nyheim Hines plays kind of that James White role that New England does. He gets all the receptions, he gets the passing down work, while JT works, the first 2 downs, and depending on game flow, things of that nature. But I'm excited for both guys. I'm extremely excited for Jonathan Taylor, young kid, getting his chance. Under unfortunate circumstances. I was
right.
I was high on Mac this year. He's a good kid, and it's a very unfortunate situation. Obviously, me personally or any of you guys, I never wish ill will or injuries on somebody, but it's part of the game. And Jonathan Taylor is up, and again, not to be rude to Mac, but this only ups what our shares of Nyheim Hines.
Absolutely. Jeremy, you want to jump in at all? Or, I mean, anything you got?
Man, I am sitting here trying to pay attention, try to be respectful to our guest here. But, dude, the Browns suck.
Oh, they're awful.
This defense is getting torn up right now by Joe Burrow. And I do have to ask you, Joe Burrow in fantasy, is he a guy you want to have on your bench right now as a guy you can spot start? Or do you look at someone else, maybe a Phillip Rivers, as a starter in maybe an 8 to 10 team league?
That's I'm glad you asked that, because I do own Joe Burrow, but he's on my bench, and I also own Deshaun Watson. So I don't see too many cases where I'm going to put in Joe Burrow for a top 5 guy, like Deshaun Watson. Good or bad, I'm riding it out with Watson. But to be more specific, I traded and acquired Joe Burrow Monday afternoon after everything that went on. I love him as my QB2 on my team, on my bench for a bye week. Again, God forbid anything happens to Watson, I can put Burrow in, and I'm absolutely confident with him. What more do you need to see than that nice 35-yard touchdown run? He made it look easy. Yeah. And there's just something about that kid, just everything overall in life. When you meet someone at work or you meet someone at the grocery store, they have that it factor. They're just about it, right? And that's Joe Burrow. I have no qualms about Joe Burrow's long-term prospects in the NFL. He makes for a fantastic bench quarterback.
Perfect. And who are some guys you think you should definitely start this week as we look at our fantasy for this week? Who are some guys we definitely need to put in the lineup?
So, I'm allowed to say studs, or do you want like sleeper picks too? Because I got everything in between.
Let's go with our studs first, then give us some sleepers. Why not?
I mean, my number 1 overall play this week is, it's no surprise, it's Derrick Henry, Tennessee. They're home against Jacksonville this weekend. It's a super plus matchup, and he touched the ball 34 times. Week 1, the guy touched the ball 34 times. Normally, in most cases, they it's week 1. We know who to start, who to sit, the studs are, but they ease guys in. They gave him, they gave him like a week 14 workload. You know what I mean? When the team's like pushing for the playoffs. So Tennessee's going pedal to the metal with King Henry, and I'm all about him.
I mean, when
this week,
you got their head coach rocking the mask that says, "Give the ball to Derrick Henry." You knew he was going to get the ball.
Exactly. And it's only the first week, and I'm not a guy to, told you so, or as I see on social media, victory laps. I can't stand that. But, I've been high on Henry all season, even last year. And I mean, I know that's not saying much. The guy won the rushing title. It's like, well, water's wet, right? So how big of a limb am I going out on saying you need to start Derrick Henry? But people, when there's like a longer off season, nobody had anything to do because of quarantine, your mind starts playing tricks on you and you're like, do I want to draft like I don't know, Elvin Kamara over him, or Josh Jacobs or Dalvin Cook? And no, it's always been Derrick Henry for me.
Well, and the thing is with Derrick Henry, I mean, that offense goes as Derrick Henry goes. I mean, Ryan Tannehill is nowhere near the quarterback or nearly as efficient as he was last year. That team doesn't sniff the position they were in by the end of the year without I mean, Derrick Henry kind of runs that offense. When that team started getting behind last year is when they ran into problems because they had to kind of abandon the run to an extent. But yeah, you're right. Derrick Henry's has been fantastic. How about some guys that you were a little bit more sleeper-ish that you're liking coming into this week?
Well, a guy I'm high on, and I love what he's about in Jacksonville, is that rookie running back James Robinson. If you guys didn't hear, he got all the work on last Sunday. There wasn't another running back on that roster in the clubhouse, on the practice squad, that even sniffed a football other than James Robinson. And one of the reasons I like him is because he didn't cost you anything. I asked a question to my followers on social media. I believe it was last night, as early as last night. What did you give up to get him? What are you willing to give up to get him? Right. And I was surprised. I have smart followers, people that know what the heck's going on. Oh, I grabbed him in the last round of my rookie draft, or I grabbed him, in the 26th round of my dynasty startup. And I love, and it could be anybody. Jeremy could be taking snaps for Cleveland, and if he's the only one getting the ball, I'm going to want him in my team because I've always been a volume guy. If you're going to give one guy all the targets and touches, then sign me up. That's the definition of a flex play with a ton of upside.
Well, and nowadays it's difficult to get guys in. There's a handful at the running back position. It's difficult to get guys that get the volume that you are loving as a fantasy owner. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a handful of guys that maybe 7 guys that are going to touch the ball so consistently every week that that you're going to get what you're going to get from them. One guy that I think is interesting this week, and I wonder what you think about him, is Cam Newton and going to Seattle. With kind of the roster of what they have going on there in New England, that roster isn't great. The offense doesn't have a bunch of wonderful weapons. Is Cam Newton a guy you're sitting this week?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because if you look at what he did, Sunday, he didn't have a ton of passing yards. I think he had like $155 in the air, but it was those 2 rushing touchdowns that was fantastic. Like, that's the Cam Newton that we enjoy, that we drafted like in his MVP season. And he goes to New England, and people were a little bit apprehensive all summer when he signed with New England. Is he going to start? Is Jarrett Stidham going to start? Who's going to be the guy? They made it pretty early on. Cam's going to be our guy. And he rewarded us. Again, I know I have to preface everything. It's only been 1 week, not to, freak out one way or another here. But I love Cam Newton this weekend. I see a totally like a flip-flop in his game, right? He had 2 rushing touchdowns last week, only $155. I see the opposite here. 250, 260 passing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, but only like 30 or 40 rushing yards, which adds up. So if you look at what I'm trying to say here, it's we don't know what we know what we're going to get. It's just, how are we going to get it? Is it going to be rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, or is it going to be passing yards and passing touchdowns, or somewhere in between? So I'm starting him each and every week. I love him in that offense. As you said, it's not a fantastic team, but it's a team that's very well coached that seems to always get the best out of their players.
And you're right. And the one thing that you mentioned is, Belichick is going to, on a week-to-week basis, adjust what they do offensively. I mean, we've seen it for years. Even with Brady, they would come in and pound the ball, and the next week they would come out and throw 37 times. So he's definitely going to adjust. And with that, and do we have a comment up there?
Yeah, Kim was talking about how Cam was sure sporting the duds, which he was. Cam always dresses like he is an old lady going to church.
Well, he looked
he
looked like Jim Carrey in The Mask. He had the yellow suit on with the pockets where I'm sure you guys, and Kim, comment here if you've seen it. There was a ton of memes where it was Jim Carrey doing the smoking, right, wearing the yellow suit and the green. It was the yellow suit was to the T that Jim Carrey wore in The Mask in like '95.
Unbelievable.
The hats alone with Cam Newton are ridiculous. And I guess the last thing I got for tonight, Chris, and again, man, we're so excited to have you coming on every week. I know everybody's going to love all this fantasy information. Is Adrian Peterson the number one guy you're starting in that Detroit backfield from now moving forward until we've seen something different?
It sure looks that way. I'm sure you watched Sunday's game just like I did. I don't remember how long it was. He ripped, boom. He went up there, but it looks like the guy that looks to be buried here is Kerryon Johnson. He touched the ball like 3 or 4 times. It was nothing special. But what I like the most is Matthew Stafford. It really was looking at Swift multiple times. And case in point, the last play of the game. So they lost. I mean, what's new? I mean, you're a Detroit fan too, but if
I almost felt it was coming.
If Matthew Stafford trusts a rookie like DeAndre Swift that much, at the end of the game like that, then we're in for a fantastic season with those two. And I read a comment from, I believe it was Bob Wojnarowski, Detroit Free Press sports guy, that they asked Stafford about that. And he goes, I would look to Swift 10 out of 10 times. That play, that look, I'm looking for him 10 out of 10 times. And that was enough for me to, jump on the bandwagon.
And while we're talking Detroit Lions here, Quintez Cephas is a guy I've compared to Jarvis Landry. What is his fantasy value going forward?
Well, Quintez, he, again, all off the top of my head, he was targeted 10 times, if I'm not mistaken, Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's part of a rookie record for a rookie wide receiver in their first ever professional game action and targets. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he tied that mark by a rookie wide receiver in their first game. Obviously, he's going to be a major part of what the Lions want to do moving forward. What is that saying much? It's the Detroit Lions, but mm-hmm. I love his long-term prospects here. If you'll indulge me for a moment. So you have Kenny, who is our number one, still hasn't practiced, but that's neither here nor there. Kenny is their number one. Marvin is number 2. And then if you can work in a Quintez like he did and will continue to do, I love Marvin, but his contract is up at the end of the season. So I think that would make the Lions more comfortable, letting Marvin walk, or, if he'll take a hometown discount, that'd be up to him when we cross that bridge. But Quintez is going to be a major part of their game plan week in and week out, having, seen how much they wanted to get him involved, week 1 against Chicago. So again, I talk and talk. So a long-winded way to answer your question. I love his long-term prospects. And with him, he's young still. I think he's in his early 20s. We don't know the usage yet, so I don't want to mislead people and say, oh, he's a must-start and wide receiver. He makes for an interesting flex given the matchups, if that means anything.
No, absolutely. And I think with Danny Amendola, and I think you saw Stafford was. Jamal Agnew is we don't really know what we have there. It clearly looked like Stafford felt comfortable with him, but you're right. It's 1 week. Things are going to change. He definitely tried to force feed him the football.
I love it.
Week 1, yeah. No, I do too. I just wish it would have translated into a win, man. But Jeremy, you got anything else?
What did you expect? So,
yeah, exactly. What did you expect?
Our teams destroy us. Browns and Lions, we're basically joined at the hip on awful ways to lose football games. I mean, my team got blown out by a Super Bowl contender, and that was fine. But y'all, that game was rough. And yeah, before we get out of here tonight, Chris, one more thing. Who are some guys we should definitely sit this week, in your opinion?
So guys, I would sit this week in terms of I can, if you don't mind, I can do a couple quick hits, per position.
Oh yeah,
you go, brother. You go.
Yeah.
Looking at my rankings right here, which you can find on shameless plug. My rankings are out now. They're live at Fantasy Pros. You can just search my name or go to at Detroit Beastie. There, I posted them everywhere. So looking at things, I think I'm going to sit Ben Roethlisberger this week. He's home. Denver's in town, and people. He didn't play last season. He was hurt, and then he comes back Monday night, and he looked at Juju. Juju was fantastic again, but that's going to lead to people, wanting anything and everything from Ben. I would temper my expectations this week with Denver. There, Denver. I know that they lost, but they looked good in certain things. They have some linebackers and Von Bell and Justin Simmons in their secondary, that are buzzing around and looking fantastic. I would sit Mitchell Trubisky today. I would only start Mitch unless he's playing the Lions. He's thrown 9 touchdowns. It's the Lions.
Couldn't have left that out.
Games, and one guy off the top of my head, I know he's not like people aren't on fire to start him, but Dwayne Haskins, it looks like he's in Arizona this weekend. Arizona is on the rise. They're a young up-and-coming team. They have Budda Baker, who is a top 3, safety and DB, let's say. So I think Arizona's going to make life real hard for Haskins. And the only reason I say that is because the pass attempts are going to be there for Haskins, because I fully expect them to be behind after an awesome win by them on Sunday against Philadelphia. But I would sit Haskins, Ben, and that's it. So we'll go to running backs for a moment, if you don't mind, if you'll indulge me.
Yeah, man.
So
that's what we're here for. Go for it, brother.
What are we going to do with Austin Eckler, guys? I traded for Eckler about 2 or 3 days before the start of the season, and the receptions were non-existent. He goes from 100 receptions last season, and he's on pace for 16 this year. If he had one reception on Sunday, so he's on pace for 16. So he's not a sit for me. He's kind of you're going to have him on your roster, because it's like, as I said, it's week 2. You drafted him in the first few rounds. You're not gonna sit a guy like that. Kareem Hunt, I know he's playing tonight, so he's kind of in the same vein as Austin Eckler. Do we? Don't we? But Mark Ingram, he's a sit for me, just for the simple fact that Baltimore, they're young, they're going to be humming along. J.K. Dobbins looks to be taking that spot faster than we assumed, right? And I think it's going to start in week 2. We're going to see maybe they were 50-50, and we're going to see J.K. really take over there. James Conner is another one for me. I know he practiced in full today, I saw, which just makes things even more difficult, especially if when waivers cleared yesterday, you grab Benny Snell.
Yeah,
because he was fantastic. No, what do we do with Conner now? I answered the same exact question about an hour ago on Twitter to one of my followers. Well, what do we do? Is it Snell or is it Conner? Well, Conner looks to be, on paper, he's their RB1, but even if he started, he had a full week of practice. Do you put him in, and after the first series of the game, he's out? He gets 3 carries, and then he sits out of the game. That kind of thing just really bugs me. It no fault of his, but it doesn't sit right with me, and I just rather not have the aggravation, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
One more thing before I move on to the wide receivers. What are we going to do in Los Angeles? Is it Malcolm? Is it Akers? I think this week I would put Malcolm Brown in my flex. I would put Cam Akers in my flex, and I would see how it shakes out, because again, we don't know how the carries and the target shares are going to work out yet.
Absolutely.
So thank you for giving me this time. I can move right along to wide
No,
receiver.
dude, we love it. Yeah, go for it.
So I have Terry McLaurin as one of my favorite plays this week. I published a graphic card. It's a new feature I'm working on. Just one graphic card
awesome.
of each player. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sam. Shout out to my friend Sam, who emailed me and he reached out. He wanted to help. He wanted to do a few things for the site and for me. So I couldn't be happier. My first thing I want to visit is what are we going to do in Tampa Bay this weekend? Godwin didn't practice today. He's in concussion protocol. Mike Evans is back to practice, but he missed week 1 with, I believe it was a soft tissue injury in his leg. What's going on there? I know if you have Mike Evans, you're dying to start him because you drafted him. Tom Brady's there, all the hype that went along with that in the summer. So what are we going to do with him? I would keep an eye on that. And I'm not saying to sit Mike Evans. I would just be, very, very mindful of what you do. Another guy I'm not looking to start this week is Tyler Lockett. He plays for Seattle. They're playing New England this weekend. New England boasts probably one of the best secondaries in football. And I know what you're going to say. A few of their guys opted out, but as long as Stephon Gilmore is there, the reigning defending, defensive player, rookie of the year, it's going to make Lockett's life a living hell. And I know Lockett, he lines up in the slot or outside, but the guy that I'm targeting there, I have all summer, I'm not going to waver from this, is Metcalf. The guy is on the fast track. The guy is on the fast track to superstardom there. And one more guy I want to mention, and you might be surprised, is Emmanuel Sanders in New Orleans. So now, the fact that Michael Thomas, he sprained his ankle, right, boys?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to be longer than expected. So everybody right away has hopped on Manny Sanders here. I would chill out on that, right? You're going to put all your eggs in that basket. And, what happens if, he's targeted 5 times and he catches the ball 4 times and you've put all your eggs in that basket. In my projections or in my rankings, actually, I have Manny Sanders for about 6 targets, 4 receptions, 50 or 60 yards. That's it. So you're looking at like 8 to 10 points. Why do it to yourself? I know I guess one has to do with the other, but I think, and I know this might be wild, but we'll have to revisit this next week, guys. I think Taysom Hill is the biggest benefactor there. He's already lining up, at all, he's taken he's taking the Wildcats direct snap. He's lining up in the slot outside. He's throwing the ball. He's catching the ball. He's rushing the ball. And they get him involved any way they can, even when Michael Thomas is on the field. So when Michael Thomas is out, what the heck's going to happen there? So I think Hill is the biggest benefactor there. And one thing real quick, I know I was going to add him in my deep 14-team league, but he's only eligible at quarterback, right? I'm not going to add Taysom Hill and start him over Watson or Burrow, as I said. But I've seen other people, like I believe in Sleeper, he has a tight end designation. I would start Taysom in my flex or in my tight end spot, and I wouldn't think twice about it Sunday because, as I've said, fortune favors the bold, right? We have to be bold. We have to. I know it's only week 2, but that's the fun of this thing. Work in, guys, and see what happens. So let me do tight ends real quick, and I'll leave you. I'll leave you be and get the heck out of here.
You are the man. We love it. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you. I haven't checked in on it yet today, but George Kittle looks to have sprained his knee, so we don't know what's going to happen there. And anything short of
they're banged up, man. They're banged up out in San Francisco.
Anything short of a leg amputation for him is not going to keep him off the field. This guy is a monster. He literally reminds me of a Roman gladiator. I know it's football. It's an odd comparison, but the guy is. He's fantastic. He has the fire and the drive, and he's powerful, and he has all these tools. So a sprained knee, I'm sure he's been resting all week, and I fully expect him to play. And I'm saying that sight unseen because I haven't read any reports about him. So be mindful of Kittle. 2 guys I want to mention that I don't want anything to do with, not only this week, but all season. Hayden Hurst in Atlanta. They signed him after, Baltimore made him. That contract never made sense to me, but that's neither here nor there. They're in Dallas this weekend, and I want to say this: the over/under in that game, I believe, is the highest of the 16 games. I believe it's in the high 53 and a half, 55 and a half, which is immensely huge. And I just a word to the wise. I always target guys in my DFS lineups that are involved in big over/unders and point spreads like that. But I don't see Hurst getting much action this week, especially with the emergence of Calvin Ridley. Now we all knew Calvin Ridley had it in him. We expected it. But Calvin Ridley got 12 targets last week. I expect him to get 8 to 10 this week. So where does that leave Hurst with, superstar stud, first ballot Hall of Famer Julio on the one end, Ridley on the other, and their other collection of backs. So in my projections, I have Hayden Hurst for almost the same exact stat line that he did Sunday, which is 5 targets, 3 receptions, 40 yards, and that's it. So you're looking at 6 to 7 points. So I'm staying away from Hayden Hurst this week, and I'm also staying away from Evan Ingram, the Giants tight end. I've never been big on Ingram. I never understood what all the I've never understood what all the hubbub is about with him.
Another mystery box guy.
Yeah, he's a mystery box guy.
I'd love for you to explain that to me, like a Super Mario, like a question mark guy.
No, he's a mystery box.
Family Guy. There was an episode of Family Guy where Peter could have a boat, or he could have the mystery box, and he's like, there could be anything in the mystery box.
Yeah.
It could even be a boat, and that's basically what Evan Ingram is. He could be something. You already know what he is, but he's the mystery box. He could also be good, but he never is. He's always hurt, and he never lives up to expectations. And
that's the thing. Every week, we read about it. We go into something, and Evan Ingram, he's going to do it this week. He's got everything it takes. He's going against a soft matchup, whatever, this or that, and he never really does anything. Now I know he's a good kid. He's eventually going to rebound, and he's going to have a good game. But at what point? I don't want to put him in my starting roster. Ingram for almost the same stat line. He was targeted 7 times last week. I have him for about 6 targets on Sunday, only catching 3 or 4 balls for like 30 or 40 yards. So again, you're looking for under 10 fantasy points for Evan Ingram this season, and I'm cool with that. If he blows up this weekend, not blows up, but has 100 yards, or he's good for a 2 or 3 touchdown game once a season, it's like a mystery box. What are you going to get? Let's make a deal kind of thing. Do you want 4 or 5 catches for 40 yards from your tight end, or do you want to take the mystery box, which is going to be 2 targets, a catch and 10 yards. So I'm staying away from Ingram again until further notice, boys.
100% with you, always on staying away from Evan Ingram's guy who I put so many rosters to hell with Evan Ingram
frequently.
So many times. Chris, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We can check you out on fantasypros.com, dfscheatsheet.com.
Correct, yes.
At Detroit Beastie on Twitter. Great follow. Obviously, the dude knows his stuff. Follow him. Thank you, brother. We will see you next week.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, bro.
You have a great night. Always an excellent guest. Dude just kills it. Like, I know we always say, or we said earlier, it'd be a 10, 15-minute segment. Bro, we can't stop him when he's just killing it, because I'm in a bunch
of good information. People need it. I'm like, he's like, can I keep going? Please keep going, dude. Yeah,
I'm taking it all in. Like, people are looking at a screen right now, and we're on sides of them, and I'm shaking my head. Like, yeah, that's a good thing, and I'm writing it down. Like, I'm like, I should check into some of my leagues, see where I could plug Taysom Hill in, because I'm without a bunch of guys this week. I got Kittle, I got Michael Thomas, I'm without Le'Veon Bell. Like I told you this morning, I traded for Duke Johnson in the fantasy league. I mean, OBJ did something finally. I think I'm a little behind. I paused the screen for a little bit, but Browns are playing okay right now. And I don't know if you saw the first drive while Chris was talking, but they definitely got Baker out of the pocket, in rhythm, gave him easy throws. Nick Chubb looks good. They're running the weak side of I mean, they're running weak side on the running plays, obviously. And yeah, Chris mentioned that there. My dad saw that. Browns look okay. The defense has gotten to Burrow a couple times, which has allowed them not to pick them apart completely. But it is 7-3, and
14.
Browns are about to score a touchdown, so 14-3. They're about to score one here on my TV because I'm behind. Because Drew lives in the future, baby.
I do.
Yeah, Browns up 14-3. It is a nice place to be. Yeah, guys, thank you for watching the show so far tonight. We're almost an hour in. We plan on having Chris on the show every week. He'll be here about 8:10, and of course, OBJ will catch the ball and get a touchdown the week I don't start him. Just fitting being a Browns fan. But hey, Browns are up. Anyway, Chris will be a part of the show every week now, and planning to have him 10 to 15 minutes. But dude just kills it with info. He's a great guest. And in his @DetroitBeastie on Twitter bio, he even makes sure to tell us that he is a podcast guest extraordinaire. And for most people, I'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But dude kills it. I mean, he just does it. And let's take a quick break here. We will take a quick break so you guys can get a quick drink, or you can watch this video here as we thank our sponsor, Manhattan Deli. Check out this little video I did here for them, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Jeremy from the Full Coverage Football Show. Getting ready for tonight's show, and as always, we will have our sponsors scrolling across the bottom. That's right. Not only do you see the jerseys behind me, the line behind Drew, and our beautiful faces, but you also see our sponsors usually scrolling by underneath. Manhattan Deli Menor, Concealed Carry Firearms Training, and Kitty Cove Daycare. So what I did is I made a video for one of our sponsors, and that's Manhattan Deli Menor. Check out some of the food. Check out the video. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think. And remember, check out the Full Coverage Football Show live every Thursday night on Facebook at fb.me/FCFS pod from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Here I am today at the Manhattan Deli of Menor on 8900 Menor Avenue in Menor, Ohio. You can come into this restaurant, get carry out 440-974-0055, delivery through DoorDash and Uber Eats, or if you want to come into the restaurant, you can sit on this gorgeous patio with your friends and family, or even come in and know that you are safe because the tables are all clean and sanitized. There are plexiglass shields between everything to make sure you're safe. Friendly staff who apparently is dodging and afraid to be on camera. But the food, man, the food. Look at this. This is a chicken Philly sandwich. Chicken, onions, mushrooms, Swiss cheese, mozzarella cheese, golden brown French fries. Just want something lighter? California chicken salad, chicken salad, fruit, toasted pineapple, or the chopped Greek rainbow salad. Look at that delectable masterpiece. Or here's another one, the caprese chicken, marinated tomatoes, but you don't need to wait. Come in for breakfast. Look at this, a deli fresh pastrami omelet. Or if you want to go a little on the naughty side and get some funnel cake for breakfast, deep fried hollow French toast. I mean, who doesn't want that? Look at those home fries. Gorgeous. I mean, the food speaks for itself. Look at those golden brown pancakes. Lunch, dinner, you name it. But not only that, but catering. Look at this gorgeous tray made by Brandon, the deli guy. Absolutely beautiful. And you can have that sent to your home. Burgers, any kind of burger your heart desires. Some of the best burgers you'll find around. Carry out. Look at this. This is carry out, making it just as nice as if you were eating in the restaurant, because they know that you eat with your eyes first. And if you're not going to like the way the food looks, it doesn't matter how it tastes. Look at these salads. This is the Julian. Absolutely gorgeous. Amazing presentation. Delicious, delicious food. And crispy onion rings. Come on, man. You're killing me. Crispy onion rings with burgers. I mean, the food literally speaks for itself. 440-974-0055 for carryout, 8900 Menor Avenue in Menor. And on Fridays, broiled, battered, breaded fish, all you can eat. Come and get it.
I don't know about y'all, but after watching that, I know one thing. If I'm watching the Full Coverage Football Show tonight, I am getting something from Manhattan Deli Menor. That food looked absolutely delicious. And thank you for sponsoring the Full Coverage Football Show that you can find live on Facebook.
You know when you can find us live on Facebook. 8 p.m. now, baby. Earlier start, an hour earlier, so you can enjoy us a little bit earlier and maybe a little bit longer. Said that to a few women in my day, but hey, it is 9 p.m. It is now time for Full Coverage Football Show After Dark. No, I'm playing with you. Let's get into the rest of the show, bro. We recapped Chris. Everyone's reaching out there.
Chris is awesome, dude.
Go ahead, bro.
I just want to say that Chris will break down the stardom sit-ems. I hope that helped everybody. I'm excited to have him on every week. I think everybody's going to get a lot of good stuff from him, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hayden Hurst, down on Hayden Hurst. Interesting.
And you got all these people out there picking up Traquan Smith, and he's like Taysom Hill, and that makes so much sense. But it's out of the box thinking, but it makes so much sense to do that. And now that we are kind of getting the show back on track here, Browns are winning, so it's weird as shit right now. We have done our Hall of Fame ballots. We have done Talk to Chris, and now it's time for the debut of a brand new game show here. That's what he said. And Matt, I know you were excited. Matt couldn't wait for the wheel. It's time, baby. It's wheel time.
Oh,
let's go to it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let me make sure I got everything up here. All right. So the object of this game is we will spin the wheel here. I will read a quote, and it's either a real quote, that's what he said, or it's a quote I made up. Drew will guess and tell us what he thinks the quote is. That's what he said, or something that I made up off the top of my head. So let's roll with it. Spin the wheel. Yeah, we got sound effects even. Classy. Patriots secondary member Devin McCourty.
All right.
He was asked about former Patriots linebackers Kyle Van Noy and Landon Roberts, who both joined the Dolphins this past offseason, and they played him this past week. Reporter came up to Devin McCourty and said, "What are the Dolphins getting in Kyle Van Noy and Landon Roberts?" His answer, is this what he said, or is it something I made up? What are they getting? Football players. They play football. It's what we do. That's what he said, or I made it up?
Made it up.
You are correct, sir. You are 1 for 1. His actual answer was not nearly as exciting. Hopefully they played bad on Sunday. That's my hope.
I saw the quote, which is why 1 for 1. All right. I'll love it.
Quote. We'll spin the wheel again. Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, when asked what he would be doing after he signed a 4-year, $80 million extension, which we talked about last week on the show, and we both said it was a good deal. When asked by a reporter what he will be doing, Keenan Allen said, give me a second here, a little Taco Tuesday mixed with a margarita. Is that what he said he'd be doing with his $80 million, or is that what I made up?
That has to be yes. If you made it up, then damn good for you. That sounds like a quote. It's a wonderful. I would enjoy those same things.
I'm 100% with him on that, and you are correct. 2 for 2, brother. 2 for 2.
Man.
This game a little bit easier than I expected.
No, I mean it's early. We still got a few here.
Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins had to give a farewell to running back Adrian Peterson, who, as we know, has signed with the Detroit Lions and had a really good game last week. 14 carries, I believe, 92 yards, 6.5 yards per carry.
Dude's good.
But he said it was hard to say goodbye to him because growing up, he was a huge AP fan, having the opportunity to be his teammate and learn from him, from a guy he watched on TV. It was a big deal. It was a great experience that he'll never forget. Did Dwayne Haskins actually say that, or did I make that up?
Yes, he said that.
You're damn right he did. Next part of the show.
People are talking. People are saying things about my wittiness in this game.
Laquan Treadwell.
Oh, Christ. He's talking? Why does everybody even allow him to talk? Like, what has he ever done? All right.
Laquan Treadwell, who was cut by the Atlanta Falcons, only be brought back to the practice squad later.
Oh, this kid, man.
A reporter for ESPN, Vaughn McClure, said Falcons called Laquan Treadwell today to inform him of his release. Had a rough camp with some drops. Thoughts of Falcons fielding an offense with all first-rounders not going to happen now with either Russell Gage or receiver Keith Smith at fullback among the 11 on the field. So, to that, Treadwell, who seemed to take offense to the spot. Did he say, "Fake news, I balled my guy, this is a business and nothing more. Constantly spreading fake news on my name. Check the tape." Did Laquan Treadwell actually tweet that at the reporter, who was actually correct at the end of the day, or did I make that part up?
Yes, he definitely had to have tweeted that.
You are absolutely right. You are 4 for 4, brother. That is a real quote. And the greatest thing is,
if you made that up, I was like, "There's no way that you can make that
right.
up."
I had something similar written for another one of these, and I'm like, no, I don't like the way it sounds. I'm going to change it. But, I mean,
no, you didn't.
It's
Ball,
Laquan
bro.
Treadwell.
You're unemployed.
So, Atlanta Journal-Constitution beat writer D. Orlando Ledbetter, who corroborated McClure's original report, said, "Yeah, Laquan, not fake news. You didn't have a very good camp. Good luck." So that leaves one more quote, and this one is from your team, Bob Quinn, on Matt Stafford. He said, "I'm a big Matt fan. Matt Stafford, Matt Patricia, Matt Castle. I really like Matts. If my name wasn't Bob, it would definitely be Matt. So liking Matt's, like I do, I can't hate the pick, and I can't fault Matthew for getting aggressive and throwing that ball that led to the interception." Is that a real quote, or did I make that one up?
You made that up.
You damn right I did. And that, my friends, that's what he said. We'll come back another time to this game. Joe Burrow touchdown. That's good for my fantasy team because I started him in one of my leagues this week. And
I dominated that game, folks.
You did. Interestingly enough, you kind of had you had a clue on the Matt Stafford one because I sent you something similar to it earlier this week. But the one I sent you was a little better than the quote I just wrote down real quick.
Good
Excellent
game.
work.
I like the wheel.
5 for 5.
We should do that again.
We got graphics now. We're moving on up as a show. We also had a background on here at one point, but my beard was lit up and I looked ridiculous. Plus, my voice looked like it was dubbed.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, so let's move on to the next part of the show. We are trying to get it back in order here. Let's get to our game picks. Game picks for week 2. That was a beautiful throw by Joe Burrow, by the way. I think at some point here I'm going to have to fix the TV and get back to live and catch up. But that was a hell of a throw to TJ Uzama.
Chris is right. The defense does suck. The linebackers are trash. They're like 20 years old, and the defensive backfield can't ever stay healthy. Your front four is Olivier Burns is not playing, but I mean, you still got Myles Garrett. But yeah, you're right. It's trash.
I mean, Adrian Claiborne is a guy who underrated maybe as a defensive end, but Olivier Vernon, you're giving $15 million to get to it, and that I believe is Joe Burrow's first career touchdown pass. So, if you're thinking, where was I when Joe Burrow threw his first touchdown pass? You were watching the Full Coverage Football Show. And we have a comment on the defense. Yeah, this defense does suck, period. It does. But we don't know what they actually have. They have no linebackers right now. And for Browns fans, any Browns fans watching this who think when Mac Wilson comes back, he's going to be some kind of Patrick Willis, Luke Kuechly stud at linebacker.
He's 22 years old, 24 years old.
He's young. He came out a year early from Alabama than he should. He's got talent, but it's not going to change things necessarily. So let's move on to our game picks for week 2. Last week, I was 10-5. Picked a pretty good upset and taking the Cardinals over the Niners. Drew was 8-7, so I got a 2-game lead on him this time. I think that's how it started out last week, and you ended up dominating. I think you beat him by 4 or 5 games. So, with that being said, let's get to the games. We've already picked the Browns and Bengals tonight. We won't put it on here because we're not going to add Thursday night to that because we never know when we'll actually pick the games, depending on how the show works. So starting out, the New York Giants 0-1 travel to the Chicago Bears 1-0. Who you got in this game, Bears or Giants?
I got to go with Chicago. I think Khalil Mack's a little bit more disruptive. I mean, the problem is I just think the Giants. I think the maturation process for Daniel Jones throughout the year. I think he's going to continue to be a better and better quarterback. I think he's going to be able to pick up pressures better and where the ball needs to go. We see some throws from him that show us that, but we also see the fact that he doesn't necessarily grasp the concept of exotic defenses to an extent. He doesn't necessarily know where to go with the ball. I think he's going to continue to get better with that. I just think that the Bears defense and what the Bears do, I just think they're the more talented roster. I see a close game, but I will take the Bears in this one.
I want to pick the Bears, but I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. I think Saquon, after getting stuffed by the Steelers defense, I think he busts out. Your Detroit Lions showed you can run the football against this team in the Chicago Bears, and I think Daniel Jones is good enough of a game manager to get it. I think it's going to be a close one, too. I'm thinking maybe a 16-13, something like that, 2017. But I'm going to actually pick the Giants in this one. And just going on Saquon. Next game, Atlanta Falcons 0-1 against the Dallas Cowboys at the Geradome. 0-1. Who you got? Falcons or Cowboys?
I got to take Dallas. It's a better team, in my opinion. I mean, listen, I was disappointed with what I saw from Dallas while they're playing the LA Rams. I think they're better this week. Dallas is very banged up at the linebacker position right now with Kyle Van Noy and, of course, Sean Lee. If anybody knows, he's a porcelain doll. Deshaun Lee is a fantastic linebacker. Don't get me
Evan
wrong.
Ingram of linebackers.
Exactly. I mean, a fantastic linebacker, but he's always injured. But I do think Dallas bounces back here. I will take Dallas, by 7 or so.
I'm with you on that. I got the Cowboys in this one. At home, I think they have to bounce back. But that offense did not look in sync last week. Maybe it's the fact that it's a Jason Garrett offense, terminology-wise, led by, Kellen Moore on a Mike McCarthy team. Maybe it's going to take a little bit. I'll tell you what, Aldon Smith did look pretty solid coming off the edge last week after being out for 5 years. Good for him to come back. Good for him to turn his life around. Awful human being for a long time. Turned his life around. Solid player. I am going to agree with you. I would like to say that Matt Ryan and the boys could win, but I think it's a high-scoring 41-38 kind of game. But I am going to take the Cowboys as well. Moving on to our next game. It is the 0-1 Detroit Lions traveling to Lambeau Field in a game that will be refereed by Clete Blakeman, which is always exciting, to face the Green Bay Packers 1-0. Do your Lions bounce back this week and get a victory, or does Green Bay move 2-0?
I can't bet on the Lions. I mean, I can't. Hey, listen, there's injuries in the defensive backfield already. Kenny Galladay is probably not going to play. He hasn't practiced all week. Jeff Okudah will play, but I mean, you're asking Amani and Jeff Okudah to somehow try to slow down Devontae Adams. It's going to be difficult. For me, I got to take the Packers here as much as I love to take the Lions.
Now, we've talked about something in our messages back and forth. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory thing. Maybe it's not. But for those who don't know what's going on in our text message, probably a good thing. Kenny Galladay, is he sitting out with this injury because he's waiting for his contract extension?
I don't think so.
Is he maybe milking a little bit? Okay.
I mean, I don't think Kenny's that kind of – I mean, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that's it. I mean, there's a lot of soft tissue injuries going on in this league right now, and that's what happens when you have kind of abbreviated offseason with no preseason. And that's where we stand. And this is why fantasy football, in my opinion, this year is more difficult as a GM/owner than ever, because you're going to have injuries you have to deal with, and that's kind of where we're at. It's tough to not see Kenny on the field. You're right. I think I don't want to think it's that. It certainly his hamstring may hurt a little bit more because of that. But I think there may be an injury there. Hopefully he's back sooner or later. But not practicing on Thursday is somewhat concerning for your availability come Sunday.
So we'll stick with that's a conspiracy. But when I think about this game, I think if Kenny Galladay plays, I think he gives the Lions a really good chance to win this game. And I mean, that's an obvious statement. But seeing what Quintez Cephas did last week, stepping up as your third guy, putting him out there with Kenny and Marvin Jones, stretching out that Packers defense with the ability to maybe run the football like you showed last week, I think that would keep you in this game and maybe keep it a little lower score game. But I think you're going to have to score a lot of points to win this game, because I'm not sold on that Detroit defense. They are not that
Oh, you're
great.
not? You're not?
No,
You're
not
not
at
sold
all.
on that shit bag defense? You're not?
Listen, I wish I was. They've got some talent out there, but like you said, Okuda, rookie going against Devontae Adams, and Okuda's dealing with soft tissue injuries. I'm going to take the Packers in this one as well. Moving on to our next game, Minnesota Vikings 0-1 at the Indianapolis Colts 0-1. Who you like in this one, Vikes or Colts?
Minnesota.
Here's
the deal, man. I was pretty disappointed with the way Indianapolis played last week. They came out, scored early. For me, I worry about them a little bit, and I just don't see Minnesota with the talent they have across the field going to 0-2. I will take Minnesota in this one.
I'm with you on that. I expected more out of the Indianapolis Colts, but when you watch that game back, it was ugly. It was the Chargers to me.
They look like shit.
It was every Phillip Rivers Chargers game, and when you look at his numbers, 36 of 46, 363, a touchdown, 2 picks. That's a Phillip Rivers football game if you ever saw one.
First of all, and I don't want to get off topic. You shouldn't be throwing 46 fucking passes in Phillip Rivers' debut. You shouldn't be putting the ball in the air 46 times. That's an issue, especially with the guys you have in the backfield. Again, don't abandon the run. Listen, you could be the Chicago Bears with the shittiest quarterback in the NFL and come back down 17 in the fourth quarter. Don't abandon it.
With you on that. They run the ball more this week. I'm actually going to take the Colts in this one. I think they bounce back, figure out what they need to do against a kind of banged up Vikings defense there without Danielle Hunter. Moving on next, the Buffalo Bills 1-0 at the Miami Dolphins 0-1. I like the Bills in this one. I mean, no doubt about it. But I have to start giving credit to Josh Allen, who just – listen, he's never going to be a prototypical quarterback, but he is doing everything in his will to get his team a victory.
Don't excuse those 2 bullshit-ass fumbles he had last week. Okay, if you want to praise Josh Allen, that's fine. But let's be real. He put the ball on the carpet twice last week.
He did.
So, yes, the Bills are going to beat them, but come on now. Weird time for you to go Josh Allen on me, bro.
And I'm just saying, Josh Allen, I've hated him. I've hated on him, but the guy does what he needs to do for his team to win the football game. He's basically a tight end playing quarterback, as we've said many times. Last week, led the team in rushing and passing.
Is he better than Baker Mayfield?
Right now as a quarterback?
Yeah.
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 And that's not saying much. Baker looks better tonight. I'll give him that. But Baker's been so ruined by the Browns, and we'll eventually touch on that, especially if they lose this game. Next week, I will come on the show and just light up the entire organization for being trash because they have been. But yeah, both of us Bills. Moving on. And before we move on from that game, if Ryan Fitzpatrick plays like trash like he did last week, we see Tua week 3?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
I don't think so. 5 or 6. I think it's going to take 5 or 6 weeks of that.
I'm with you on that. Next game, San Francisco 49ers 0-1 travel to the New York Jets 0-1. Jets got any shot in this game?
Nope.
With you on that 100%.
The only shot they have is with the injuries. Yeah, even with the injuries, they're a better team than the Jets.
This could be a 6-3 football game.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about this football game.
Nor do I. Los Angeles Rams 1-0 at Philadelphia Eagles 0-1. Rams go to 2-0?
No. Nope. Listen, Philly laid an egg last week too to the Washington the Washington football team. That's not going to happen again. I expect Philly to come out and win the game by a touchdown.
The Rams always struggle on the road. Jared Goff, different player on the road.
It's the East Coast and West Coast.
I want to take the Rams in this. I like what the Rams are doing on offense. I like the fact that offense had another identity. They did run the football well. I'm still a big Cam Akers fan, but I can't see the Eagles going 0-2 to start the season. But I do think Aaron Donald has himself a game, which isn't saying much because he has a game every time he goes out there. He is a damn good football player. But I will also agree with you with the Eagles, and I believe we've taken the same on it, except for 2 games. I took the Colts and the Giants. You took the Bears and the Vikings so far. Denver Broncos 0-1 at the Pittsburgh Steelers 1-0. Steelers move to 2-0?
Yes. but not easily, in my opinion. I liked a lot from what I saw with Denver last week, going up against a really, really good Tennessee Titans defense. Drew Lock looked good. If they get Cortland Sutton back, I think they make this a game. But I'll take the Steelers to win.
100% with you on that. Steelers win this one, but it's definitely a tight one. I do absolutely love what the Broncos have done there. John Elway, excellent job so far on building a roster around a solid quarterback in his minimal playing time. I'm starting to think. But yeah, Drew Lock has been pretty good in minimal work. Carolina Panthers 0-1. Go ahead.
What's that? Pull that question.
I didn't even see it.
Well, no, I don't blame Swift. Yes. Yeah, the head coach. It's the head coach's fault. You don't blow a 17-point rate. The head coach is in a complete embarrassment. I'm trying to root for him. He's a joke. Mitch Trubisky is, God bless him and his family. I know he has probably a wonderful family. He's trash. He's probably not going to be a quarterback in this league. He's probably not going to be a quarterback in this league for very long. Matt Patricia also probably not going to be a head coach in this league for very long. It's embarrassing. Yeah, it's the head coach's fault. DeAndre Swift's going to be a ball player. You're not up 17 in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go and blame it on DeAndre Swift not being able to catch football in one play. But this is Lions, man. They're very similar to the Browns. They even when you're like, oh, I literally was having cocktails, eating some chili last week. I'm like, oh shit, we're up 17. And then I'm like, well, what am I doing here? I know this is it's just it's tough. It's tough existence. Yeah, it's Matt Patricia. He sucks.
It's what 9 of the last 17 games they've had a fourth quarter lead and blown it. Is that what the stat was? I'm trying to remember what I was looking at on Sunday. It was mind-boggling. Matty P, how many games you give him? 6 games?
No.
Or do you think he gets the whole season?
Yep, he gets the whole season. Yeah, I do. I think he gets the whole season because I do think there's a chance they're 0-4. I hope not. Of course, I mean, there's of course a chance they OBJ is being OBJ out here today. I don't know what is going on here.
Because I didn't start him in fantasy.
He looks good. I think you have to get because again, there's fans that want Matt Patricia fired. We got to get this show going because we're already an hour and a half. We're off the rails at this point anyway. But the Matt Patricia should have been fired in the offseason. And so for the Lions clown-ass fans to say they should fire him after week 1, they're idiots because they're the same idiots that were saying to keep him in the offseason. You don't fire a man after 1 week. You know, I've said it on this podcast many times of my thoughts of Matt Patricia, and I thought his ass and Bob Quinn should have been fired all offseason. That has been my tune the entire time. Well, here's the deal. They're the GM. They're the coach. You don't fire them right now. Mm-hmm. Because you can't keep doing this fucking dog and pony show like the Browns do. You can't just fire and rehire all the time.
Cheers to that, brother.
If you didn't have the balls to do it in the offseason, then let it ride out. I mean, it's that bad. If he's 0-8 or something, then fine. But I'm sorry to watch this game, but that's a terrible call by the referee. Odell Beckham deserved better on that one. And I know I'm in the future. I just want to give you a heads up so you could see what I was saying. You pulled on.
I saw a little bit of what was going on, but I have to agree with you, dude. You got to stop being the Browns. People want to blame Baker Mayfield, and he deserves a lot of the blame because OBJ didn't just become an average receiver and below average receiver. A lot of time, Baker Mayfield doesn't get him the ball on time on the right spot. Baker Mayfield's to blame, but when you look at the reason why Baker Mayfield's to blame, it's not just on Baker. Yes, you have to put blame on Baker as a person, as a quarterback, but 4 head coaches, 4 offense coordinators, and 30 starts. That's mind-bogglingly stupid for a franchise to just try to destroy your franchise quarterback. The Browns and Lions are who they are because of the decisions they make. What it comes down to. Moving on to 2 teams who seem to be looking up. Carolina 0-1, traveling to Tampa Bay 0-1. Does Tampa Bay get their first victory? Or does Carolina and Matt Rule get their first victory?
Yeah, no, Tampa Bay is going to get the first victory. I don't have much to say on this. I mean, listen, It's Christian McCaffrey, and I feel bad for the guy to an extent. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, they brought in a new quarterback. Yeah, I don't have much to say on this damn game. I mean, Carolina's not the better football team. Tampa Bay is ready to rock and roll. They're going to get the win. I think it's going to be pretty easy. Christian McCaffrey will get his because he's the best player in the league. But
how do you not call that pass interference? Now I finally looked up to see the play you were talking about. How is that not pass interference?
Yeah, I'm jersey. I'm not a Browns fan or a Bengals fan, but the man held the man's jersey.
William Jackson is standing sideways, tagging him like my kid trying to get me in the store.
Again, OBJ is abusing people right now. Like he's
and let me say something about
really good this game.
OBJ will look good against a lot of teams with bad defenses. The Ravens are physical and beat the shit out of him, and he whines. He cannot handle playing against the Ravens. He will be a non-factor against the Ravens every time they play him because Marlon Humphrey punches him in the mouth every single time. Facts. Moving on. I took the Bucs as well because they have to win this game. Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew, 19 of 20, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns to lead them to a 1-0 start against the Tennessee Titans, 1-0 after that game was closer than it should have been because they couldn't kick a field goal to save their lives. But Gostkowski hit the one that mattered to make them 1-0. Jacksonville moved to 2-0, or any chance? Or is it all Tennessee in this one?
No, they can't stop Derrick Henry. I mean, I like what Gardner Minshew's done. Like people that want to rip Gardner Minshew, and I don't want to say, is Gardner Minshew right now better than Baker Mayfield? And I know Baker Mayfield's look good. So let's not act like Gardner Minshew's some sort of bum now. Yeah, he was efficient. It's a light bulb. I mean, he was great. DJ Chark got involved. A beautiful touch pass in the back right part of the end zone towards Pylon. I like what Jacksonville is doing. That roster's depleted. They have no interest in winning.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, they won the game last week. They're not winning this week.
I'm with you on that. Titans roll in this one. I think they do it easily. I think this brings the Jags back to earth. And if it doesn't, if the Jags are led by Gardner Minshew another game to another win, I'll come back on this and say I was completely wrong.
I would love to do that next week. I
hope we do.
Come on here and say that Gardner Minshew proved us wrong. I really hope so.
And as far as Gardner being better than Baker at this point right now, yes, he is, because he is able to perform at a level that looks like an actual NFL QB. Baker looks good tonight. I will give him that. But Baker's been ruined by this franchise. I said it 5 minutes ago. Baker's been ruined by this franchise. Washington football team 1-0 at Arizona 1-0.
Cardinals.
Washington surprise again. Does that defense step up and stop Kyler Murray?
Oh, they'll put pressure on Chase Young as a freak. I still hold my stance that he's going to set the rookie the sack record, but I'll take Arizona.
I'm with you on that. I think it's a closer game than some may expect. I'm not sure if you have in front of you what the spread is on this one, but I do expect Washington to cover. Not that I usually talk about that. I just think it's going to be a close game.
Baltimore Ravens. I do have the spread in front of me real quick, just to touch on it. Spreads, Arizona giving up a touchdown. So
okay. I think it's a field goal game. Baltimore Ravens 1-0 traveling to Houston, to NRG Stadium, a 4:25 kickoff. 0-1 Houston Texans. Does Bill O'Brien get his team to 1-1?
0-2 Houston Texans. It's just a lot of smoke coming down there from Baltimore. That team's good. They can run the football. And Houston is susceptible to giving up the run. Although you would think J.J. Watt's a different player. J.J. Watt, I don't want to say he's washed, man, but J.J. Watt's a different player. He's not the J.J. Watt we're used to seeing. The corpse of David Johnson, I think, has a decent game here. But, yeah, I can't take Houston.
Ravens are studs. They destroyed the Browns. They made the Browns look worse than they really are, probably. That is a damn good football team. And J.K. Dobbins, as a rookie, he was the guy who they were going to slowly work him in. He led that team in carries, maybe because they were so far ahead and they wanted to save Mark Ingram's legs. But that team can run the football. And, I always say you can't teach accuracy. And maybe it was just because the Browns' secondary is so bad. But Lamar looked like he improved his accuracy. Maybe it's just the Browns. Maybe not. We will see this week because I do think that the Houston defense is far superior to the Cleveland Browns. Kansas City Chiefs 1-0 at Los Angeles Chargers 1-0. KC roll easily.
Yep.
With you on that, not even a question. And now to the Monday night game, because the Sunday night game is our game of the week. Monday night, New Orleans Saints 1-0 at the Las Vegas Raiders 1-0, 8:15 kickoff from Allegiant Stadium, the Death Star at the end of the Strip in Las Vegas, opening up, and I believe no fans in attendance for this one.
Correct. Yeah.
Saints
I'm
move to
going
2-0.
Raiders. Nope.
You taking the
They
Raiders?
Sure as hell don't. Chucky ain't playing no games. Are you kidding me right now? Josh Jacobs runs the ball. They're banged up, man. They're banged up. No Michael Thomas. I expect the Saints to kind of come and lay it out, and this is the anointing of the stadium. I expect Chucky to get it done. I'll take the Raiders.
You know, I was thinking about taking the Raiders, but just because you took them, I am not going to in this one.
Perfect.
Raiders, this should be a good game. Josh Jacobs, you're absolutely right. That kid is a horse at running back. Really good. Henry Ruggs looked good until he tweaked a hammy, I believe, or a knee. Derek Carr last week, 22 of 30, 239, one score.
He
Didn't
does
turn the
that
ball
every
over.
year, though, bro. Every year he
does.
comes out and looks good.
But if Derek Carr continues to be a game manager and they can run the football, this team could do some things.
Nate Peterman needs to start immediately if they want to win games.
I mean, he does get more guaranteed money than Cam Newton. Why would you restructure Nathan Peterman's contract to make sure he gets $1 million guaranteed? Nathan freaking Peterman, who has 17 interceptions in like less than 100 passing attempts. It's trash. Trash. But let's move on to our game of the week. Our game of the week this week, New England Patriots led by Cam Newton, heading into Seattle to the 12th-man CenturyLink Field to face the 1-0 Seattle Seahawks led by Russell Wilson, who balled out last week, 31 of 35, 322, 4 scores.
It's the best quarterback in football.
Right now it's Pat Mahomes, Russ Wilson, Lamar Jackson. Any order you want to put them in, those are the 3 top guys in football.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I have to go with Russell Wilson, the Seahawks here. I have to. I mean, the way they looked last week, God damn it. Damn it. Baker Mayfield is tearing me apart in fantasy football. I'm sorry that I'm in the future. Touchdown.
Hey, it's Kareem okay. Hunt. I also know that Kareem Hunt scored a touchdown because the Browns just told me so, and I'm way behind. I'm at like second and goal with $1:43 left.
Anyway, yeah.
We'll fix.
Yeah. So, whatever. Who do I? Yeah.
You took Seattle.
Yeah, I got Seattle.
I mean, Seattle really well done what they did last week. Destroyed Atlanta. But I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. I think Cam is on a mission. 15 and 19 last week, ran for 75 yards. I think what Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, and Cam are doing, they're going to do some things. It's going to confuse the hell out of defenses. I'm expecting a really good game, maybe a 27-24, something tight, but really good football game for Sunday night. I'm excited about this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but I am going to take the Patriots. So there are game 2 picks, or week 2 picks. Let me see. We got a comment here. Yes, Hunt touchdown. Living in the future. Ember, that was a beautiful play call. And let's just say that Baker looks good. The play calls look good. The timing looks better, but the Cincinnati Bengals defense isn't that good. So you can't really tell what either team is at this point. But this has actually been an entertaining game that I've seen in the corner. I'll probably get out of here about halftime. We did start at 8 o'clock tonight, and it is 9:40, and we're still rolling. But we're going to finish up the show here. The way we finish up the show every week.
It's only halftime, Chris. Baker may throw a pick in the second half. All right. Anyway, Ward's Wagers. I'm ready for it.
From Baker.
Over under 0.5 Baker interceptions in the second half.
Under.
Yeah. I'm going to take the other 2 because I think you're going to run the ball. But anyway. All right, Ward's Wagers. Here we go, boys and girls. I got 3 more for you this week. I'm a big fan of all 3 of these. We went 1 and 2 last week. The Lions are scumbags. They're absolute trash that cannot be trusted or respected. With that being said, Minnesota at Indy. Indy giving Minnesota 3 points. I will take the Minnesota Vikings and the field goal. The public agrees with me. 78% of the public money's on the Minnesota, 85% on the money line. The next two picks I'm going against what Vegas says. We got the LA Rams at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is getting a point, actually getting a point at home. 74% of the money is on the Rams. I say you guys don't know what you're talking about. We're taking Philly +1, and the final bet is Denver at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh -7.5. I will take that 7.5 points and roll with Denver. Again, 62% of the money is on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going against that. So just to summarize that, we're taking Minnesota +3, Philadelphia +1, Denver +7.5. That's simple.
Take it. We stayed away from the – what did we say last year? Stay away from the Lions. Stay away from the Browns.
Yeah.
Can't trust them. Heading into halftime almost here. I think the Browns left some time on the clock for Joe Burrow, but the Browns are up, 21-10?
That's correct.
All right, 21-10 Cleveland. Y'all, we started at 8 o'clock. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will have Chris every single week at Detroit BC on Twitter. He's on fantasypros.com, dfscheatsheet.com. Check him out. In case you didn't know, the guy knows his stuff. He does very well. Yeah. For 1-2 last week, I believe he will bounce back this week. Rough start. We said it would be a slow start.
It's hard to gauge things right now. I mean, the Lions shit the bed. We'd have been 2-1 and everybody had been making money. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because the Lions are the scum of the NFL doesn't mean that everybody. I'm sorry, we're not messing with the Lions for a little while.
It was rough. That was a tough game for y'all. But hey, bro, football's back.
It is.
Overall, outside of watching our teams, week 1 was fun, man. Week 1 was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the double Monday night game, and I enjoyed Herbie and Herbie doing Monday Night Football. Herbie and Fowler doing Monday Night Football. That was a lot of fun. But overall, what did you think of the new Monday night booth of Greasy, Riddick, and Levy?
I love Louis Riddick. I'm not a huge fan of Steve Levy. It was fine. I did love Herbie and Fowler. They're going to be going back to college football. I think ESPN's an absolute disaster, and nobody cares about their programs anymore. Honestly, I don't think anybody even cares about ESPN. The only time anybody ever watched ESPN was SportsCenter. I mean, it's a disaster. If they can get Herbie and Fowler, then yeah, let's roll, because they're as good as it gets. High school, college, it doesn't matter. They can call anything. I'll watch it.
Exactly. I am with you on that. That was great. But you know what? I'll give Levy credit. They weren't terrible. It was watchable. It was more enjoyable than Booger McFarland. And I hate to hate on Booger, but Booger's better in the halftime role there. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here tonight?
No, man. I hope your Browns don't mess it up. I'm going to watch it.
I hope they don't mess it up as well. So goodbye to everyone. We will see you next week. Remember, the live show does begin at 8 p.m. on our Facebook page, fb.me/FCFSpod. Audio version available on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods, iHeartRadio, and Anchor.fm. Check out our t-shirts, bonfire.com/FCFStees. -tees, I think. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. Either way, I tweeted it out earlier. It's up there. This has been a long show that was thrown all over the place. We started at 8 o'clock. Yeah, we're still finishing at 10 o'clock. Brother, man, great show nonetheless. Yep. We will see you next week. We'll be back with Thursday Night Football. We'll be back with Chris at Detroit BC. Follow Drew on Twitter at DetroitDave7. Follow me on Twitter at SomervilleCLE. Check us out at FCFSPod. And without further ado, good night, kids. And remember, if you live the life you love, you'll love the life you live. Night, y'all. Thanks for watching.